And now, the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we're back this week talking about episode 526, Seeing Red.
Yeah, this is a different album from the last one we talked about. This is the first episode on the album, right?
No.
Oh, no.
So
what?
It's a weird scenario where this is the album directly following what was Here Today Gone Tomorrow Part 3.
Yes.
But album structure doesn't always match airing order because depending on how they want to sequence the album, they shuffle stuff around and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So this is actually track 7 on the album.
Oh,
and they do all 6 of the Mitch and Connie Color Saga right in a row. So
that makes more sense.
So we get, yeah.
But it is the next episode chronologically,
yes.
right? Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah,
that is weird.
Well, yeah, and I think part of it is that a lot of the episodes on this album, like the first couple episodes, aired before Here Today Gone Tomorrow.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense if they're going to try and bunch them all together.
They do a lot of that kind of shuffling. Well, less so now, but
yeah,
where stuff's airing more as an album because of the AIO Club. But or it's actually I did realize this after we re-recorded that it is the OA Club. It's the Odyssey Adventure Club, not the Adventures in Odyssey Club.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Did they switch names? Because I feel like it was the Adventures in Odyssey Club for a bit.
Not that I'm aware of. I think it's been the Odyssey Adventure Club because they've always had oaclub.com.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
I get ads for it on my podcast app now.
That's hilarious.
Which I find very concerning.
I
still can't join. I've tried so many times. It's more now so that I don't actually want it. I just want to be able.
Right, yeah.
More than anything.
But the, going to the website. What point do you get to? Is it?
No, I pick my username and whatever, my logo. I always pick Wooten for that. And then I go to click submit and they're like, you didn't fill it out. And I'm like, but I did. And it's always my address is incorrect.
That's what I was running into as well. So
what the heck? Why does it matter?
Who knows?
Just take my money.
But yeah. Someday we'll manage to figure it out. Two people have written in to try and explain how to do it.
Oh, really?
And both times I was like, I understand that that's the process. For some reason, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, and is it the same thing with you where your address isn't working?
Yep.
What?
It's just when I hit submit, like a red arrow pops up saying like you didn't fill something out, and I did fill it out.
What if it's just Linux? What if nobody in Linux?
Or my personal theory, they blacklisted our names. So we put in our names, and they're like, whoa. Those guys say pimp. We are not letting them into the OA Club.
No. I heard they got removed from the wiki for a reason. Oh my gosh. I hope that's the case. I hope there is a wanted poster with the logo of our podcast.
Oh, that would make me so happy. If not, come on our show, people.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. I mean, Katie Lee liked one of our posts, so we're not that blacklisted.
No, we can't be. Hi, Katie Lee. I hope you listen to this. If you don't,
that would be so funny. We talk about her so much.
I know.
Connie's in every episode.
Yeah. What the heck? Katie Lee, thank you. You have done good work, and I hope you actually are listening to this.
If you are, tweet at us.
Yeah. And if there is somebody with relationship to Lee who is also named Katie, I will take that as well. That's fine as well. Oh my goodness.
What a great start we're off to.
Yeah. Do you have any context for this?
Written and directed by our buddy Marshall Younger.
Got him.
And it aired September 27th of 2003. It was next sequentially after Here Today Gone Tomorrow, but it's like 2 months later. And you kind of feel it in the episode a little bit. There's a period of time that's gone by.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll roll the promo and then we can dive into the actual plot.
Sounds good.
Sorry seems to be the hardest word. And on the next Adventures in Odyssey, it's reached epidemic proportions. Who will be the first to say the magic word? The fur is flying, and somebody's got to get that cat back in the bag. Wouldn't you like to know who? Well, sorry. You'll have to tune in to the next Adventures in Odyssey.
The fur is flying.
There's so much extra music at the end.
Yeah, there is a lot of extra music. And also,
what is the music?
I don't know. It's like somewhere between the noises that the frog makes in Crazy Frog. He's like, dang, 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 dang.
Yeah, no, you're not that wrong. There is like a weird croak.
Yeah, it's... I don't understand. It's like comically spooky. Like one of those joke haunted houses where it's like, oh, student loans. That's kind of what I'm getting from this.
Hey, it's all about apologies and that the cat is out of the bag.
Yeah, there's fur everywhere. Somebody's got to put the cat back in the bag. What the heck?
I don't know. This isn't All's Well with Boswell. It's not a cat-centric episode.
No. Oh. What the frick? What an episode. Wow.
I had that. I don't know if you ever had these, but they released a bunch of single CD 3-track themed episodes that were like about responsibility or honesty or whatever. Yeah. And All's Well with Boswell was on one of those. So I have heard that episode so many times.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've only ever heard it I think maybe twice.
Yeah. That's a reasonable amount. It's not a great episode.
No, but if I remember it correctly, which I probably don't. But
yeah, that's true. Andrew's memory not that great.
Yeah, and especially given the catalog of 700 episodes that I've heard twice.
Yeah, that's also fair.
And it's so many. It's too many.
Yeah.
So this episode comes in on a cold open, right?
Yeah, well, so we get the Now Adventures in Odyssey.
Yeah.
And then we get a scene, which is it's Connie hanging out at J&J Antiques.
For some reason.
With, I don't know, she just wanted to come hang out with Jack and Joanne. It sounds like they're maybe moving around some stuff, so maybe she's helping.
Maybe.
But I don't know. At one point, Jack's moving a big box, and Joanne's like, "Oh, just wait till Whit gets here to help you with that."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Is Whit more capable than Connie?"
Yeah, is Whit more? I thought that too. I was like, Whit is reasonably somewhere between the ages of 65 and 85.
Yeah, I mean, I guess women can't lift boxes,
no,
so that would make it hard.
Yeah,
but
it's their uterus. It gets in the way of lifting boxes. It's. I mean, that's how God made them. My hands are in the sky for this one. Don't shoot the messenger.
It was really funny too. This album, the In Hot Pursuit album, is one I listen to a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I listened to this album a good bit.
Probably between the two of us, it was never in the church library.
No. But that's mostly my fault.
But because you never return stuff, as previously established. But it starts off right off the top. There's just it's this conversation between Connie and Joanne, and literally because I was writing down notes and stuff. The second Connie's voice starts, I paused the episode and I was like, I remember this next bit perfectly. Yeah. And so I don't know if this will be fun for the audience or not, but I wrote down the timestamp. So 7 seconds into the episode is when I paused it. And I wrote down this approximation of what I thought a quote was that will come up in a minute.
Okay.
And so I wrote down a conversation between Connie and Joanne.
Yeah.
Not remembering that Jack was in the scene, but in which Connie says, "You know who talks about the weather? Grandparents and boyfriends who are losing interest in their girlfriend." And then Joanne responds, "Jack talks about the weather, although I guess we are old enough to be grandparents." That's the thing I remember. then I press play, and after a little bit, it was just like this weird sense memory where as soon as I started the episode, I was like, oh, I know this quote.
Yeah.
And then after a little bit, we get this thing. So the conversation is between Connie, Jack, and Joanne. And Connie says, he talks about the weather, talking about Mitch. The only people in the world who talk about the weather are grandparents, meteorologists, and men who have lost interest in their girlfriends. And then Joanne says, Jack, you talk about the weather. Have you lost interest in me? And Jack says, I am a grandparent, to which Joanne responds, that's
Yep.
so
No, I'm the
not
exact same way.
spot on,
But
I
you're pretty darn
remembered it
close.
really well.
No, yeah, and I don't know what it is about that line because I'm the exact same way. Where like once they started talking, and then there was all that hypothetical like with Joe, like Jack being Mitch or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like,
Oh yeah,
oh my gosh, like I remember all of this. Like what?
that is
Like
It came back like a storm, and we've talked about it before. How there's like weird things that I forget are like Odyssey centric that that still go on in my head from time to time.
Yeah.
And one of the things is anytime I make mention of the weather in conversation, I think about how hacky that is.
Yeah.
And I think about this quote.
I literally was talking to my girlfriend about the weather like yesterday, and I was like, who am I? What am I doing?
Yeah. And I didn't remember the meteorologist line, which is funny, but it's grandparents, meteorologists, and men who have lost interest in their girlfriends.
That's fair. I am dressed and behave like a grandfather in many ways, so I'm just gonna call that one.
Yeah, but like a pretty hot grandfather.
Oh yeah, I mean, if the listener cares to know, my shirt is entirely unbuttoned currently. I am draped over this table. I am sprawled. I'm living my best life currently.
Yeah. And I'm not wearing pants.
No, he's not wearing pants. You'd have no way of knowing.
The fun of the audio medium.
Yep, exactly.
Anyways, I love Jack and Joanne in this exchange.
They're so good. They're so fun.
I love, like, spoiler alert, I really like this episode.
Yeah, me too.
It's fun. Their relationship is so solid and feels so lived in.
Yeah.
And oh man, during this whole,
and it was the same thing with like the Liz and Mandy stuff later, and like Connie and Mitch. Like one of my notes is like, I don't know. It's a great episode because like this kind of stuff happens to these very like well established and well written characters, so that it feels very normal and it flows so well that the moral doesn't feel pushed, but it's also like, I don't know, it's delightful. It's really light, but also has constitution to it. Like,
yeah, it benefits from two things. One is it's drawing from the rich bank of Odyssey characters, where everyone in this episode is someone we have heard from before, and most of them are really well-established characters.
Yeah, with the exception of who? Like, maybe Jack and Joanne?
As far as...
Oh,
no, I mean...
Seth.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Seth is the only one, though he's been in previous episodes, he's the only one who is, like... But he's also not integral to the plot.
No.
So it doesn't really matter. Like, he's a plot device, he's not a character.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. But... So it's benefiting a lot from the fact that we have histories with all these characters, and also it's tying 3 storylines all into a central theme.
Yeah, and
but in a way that
natural.
in a way that doesn't feel like a cheat.
Yeah, in a way that doesn't feel like the 3 split panels thing. It's just like, well, this thing happened, and then this also thing happened.
Yeah.
And this is... And the ending, which we'll get to, like, is just a really good chain reaction of like what makes Odyssey really special.
Yeah, this
is the thesis statement of the podcast, just so you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the line where Jack says that he's a grandparent, I was like, I have vague recollection of that, but I did like a Jack deep dive because I was so foggy on most of that.
Yeah.
So Joanne's his second wife.
Yes.
His first wife was named Emily, and he had. We hear mention in 2 episodes that he has grandchildren. That is it. We never hear mentions of or we hear in 2 episodes that he's a grandparent. We don't know how many kids he has or how many grandkids he has. And to my knowledge, they never show up.
Dark past.
But also, I realized in doing that we'd never done like a voice actor recap on Jack.
Oh, well, we should.
Because I was less thorough about doing that early on.
Well, because he's a more established character.
Yeah, that too. And so he's actually, it's pretty cool. He is, so he's played by Alan Young, who is a, like, proper actor and whatnot. He was famously the voice of Scrooge McDuck.
Really?
For DuckTales and then other Disney-related stuff.
Like
anytime Scrooge McDuck shows up until 2016, because that's when he passes away. Like, that's Alan Young doing Mr. McDuck.
I didn't know that he was dead.
Yeah.
Dang it, man.
Dude was born in, like, 1919 or something. Like, he lived a long life.
Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Dang, man. And he was still working in his 80s?
Yeah.
Presumably?
Yep. Yeah.
He's like, wait. Shoot, what's the name of the guy that does
I think he was working in his 90s, too, but yeah.
the Planet Earth series? Who does the voice?
Oh, is it David Attenborough?
Yes, David Attenborough.
Yeah.
That man's, like, in his 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, like, John Williams.
Yeah, that is also true.
But the other thing is he played Wilbur Post on Mr. Ed. The 50s show with the talking horse.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The show that I watched every morning as a child.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. And he won an Emmy for the best actor while on that show. Like a primetime Emmy.
Dang.
So
We are honored for your presence.
yeah,
He did such a good job.
And there's some really nice quotes about him that they kind of have collected.
So he's one of the few
on
actors. Well, I guess you probably wouldn't have been through all 3 wits.
No,
No,
because Jack was created after Hal Smith passed
away.
But yeah, he's really good, and there's a lot of quotes with him just like so excited to be involved in a show like this because he started out as a radio guy.
Really?
He started out in a time before television.
Yeah.
So he was like a radio guy, and so he apparently like
If he was born in 1919,
yeah. It was like a big joy of his too to be on this show. And I was like, oh,
I'm glad we did that then.
Yeah,
that
that's
makes
really
me
great.
Happy.
And
also very sad because I didn't know he was dead, but that also makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's Jack.
Duck.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense because I used to watch the like Mickey Mouse Christmas special or the Christmas Carol and Scrooge McDuck and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And totally can hear it now.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
It's stuff like this that I love doing our show for because it's just like, I'm going to destroy Adventures in Odyssey trivia night at the pub.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We need to make our own Adventures in Odyssey trivia just so we can win. We don't need to know the answers. We just need to know the questions.
That's true. But yeah, so the whole scene here before the intro is Connie freaking out to Jack and Joanne about how she's losing Mitch.
Yeah.
She's really concerned that their relationship is falling apart because she's
been talking about the weather.
because she's been doing this long distance thing for a while.
Yeah, 2 months presumably, or a couple months.
Yeah, a month, something like that.
Which is a long time.
And so she says she's afraid of losing Mitch, and then we get a surprise intro.
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, and not only is it a surprise intro, it's Chris doing the full intro.
This is Chris, yeah.
Which we have not had yet in our run of covering.
Really?
Yeah.
It's all been characters.
Yeah, because I had to write a new script.
And enjoy it.
Hi, this is Nathan. Welcome to the podcast. We're just getting ready for a time of humor, analysis, and discussion. So why don't you get all your friends together and join us for the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
welcome back.
Yeah, and so yeah, we get back from that intro with basically like my note just says like, man, Katie Lee must be having a great time monologuing.
Oh yeah,
it's just, It's a conversation between her and Jack where she has Jack role playing as Mitch.
Yeah.
But she is just steamrolling.
Yeah, she's
and
just
Jack's just like getting like one word in from time to time, and she's just like launching into all these things.
Yeah.
It is so
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's really good. And
I
she's
like it a lot.
Well, and then Jack gets like flustered. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like I didn't mean to do this." Like he becomes Mitch in the second. Like,
and Joanne comes back in and she's kind of ribbing him about it. And he's so apologetic.
it's so good.
But Joanne comes back in with one of the things in there is like kind of freaking out that like there must be another girl and the fact that he like won't respond to. Like she's leaving voicemails and they're like he's writing. Oh, she has this like there's 9. The episode opens on 9 commas.
Yeah,
which is her ranting about the fact that like
he misspelled Celsius.
Yeah, he's a Jack's like even using or is it Joanne? Regardless, it's even using Celsius in a sentence seems impressive, and then that's where the weather thing comes from.
Yeah,
but it's Connie like
does Mitch. Why does he measuring the weather in Celsius?
I don't know. Fahrenheit is clearly the right way to go. Yeah.
I mean, definitely in America. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
Maybe there is something to worry about. if he's getting his temperature in Celsius, maybe Mitch is actually just doing something or somewhere.
That's true. Yeah. Also, I feel like the joke works just as well with Fahrenheit. Like both
Fahrenheit's
of those words are
in Celsius.
Yeah, they're both pretty hard.
Fahrenheit.
No,
IE? Fahrenheit.
FAR. No, I think it's an H. I think it's HR.
Fahrenheit? What?
Maybe not. But the height part is HEIT.
Oh, no, there is an H.
I was right. Okay.
Yeah, and I said, fair. So it's Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Anyways, Celsius, also hard to spell.
Less hard to spell, though.
Yeah, but you have the problem with the C's that sound like S's and vice versa. Wait, let me do Celsius. CELCIOUS?
CELSIUS.
See? They're
Celsius.
both hard.
That's fair.
Anyways, this is dumbest
The
thing.
new bit on the podcast where we spell for you guys.
First, I pretend to know quotes.
Yeah.
Then I spell.
This is going great.
We're having a
We've
good
made it
time.
like 10, not even 10 minutes into the episode.
But yeah. Joanne comes in to tell them that there's a church that they have been partnering with in Sri Lanka that has burnt down.
Yeah.
And so she's, really concerned and, like, trying to figure out how to raise money for that throughout this whole episode.
Yeah.
And then we go to a scene with Mandy and Liz.
In a gym, presumably?
Yeah, in a gym. I was very excited because I really like Mandy and Liz.
Yeah, they're great. We call them Landy? Miz?
Miz.
Miz.
And then our boy Seth Young walks up.
What a guy.
And Mandy gets so flustered and it's adorable.
It's so cute.
I don't know if we've talked about this on the show or not, but like as far as fictional character crushes, I was way into Mandy as a kid.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was more of a Sarah guy. She was really cute. And also Donna Barkley.
Okay. No, that's
mostly
fair.
I've always liked older women, so
yeah.
As a child hearing Donna Barkley talking about chipping her nails, I was like, oh, you are the annoying older sister that I have strange feelings for.
but yeah, I like.
Maybe that wasn't the words.
It's fine. We understand.
Right.
But like, oh man, yeah. Listeners of our show who have read our interview on on that Adventures in Odyssey blog, shout out to Gracie.
What a hero.
Will know that I identify heavily with Trent.
Yeah.
And most of that is because we're both in love with Mandy.
Ooh, that makes a lot of sense now. I didn't think about that. I think you've said that before, maybe.
But anyways, so Seth walks up, and Mandy is super flustered, and it's adorable.
And they're trying to do chin-ups, and they're like, how many have you done? And she's like, 1. Like, after talking for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. And
which I'm imagining they're trying to do like CrossFit pull-ups where they like throw their whole body into it to try and get up. Like swinging their legs. And then Seth.
Yeah.
Who's presumably like kind of got muscles, but kind of not because I think he's in middle school.
Yeah. So I kind of picture Seth as like very wiry.
Yes.
Because he talks about the fact that he is joining the wrestling team to save kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we've previously saw Seth...
And then he says his body is a temple.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
my
no,
Lord.
He's a lot.
He is... That man is pure, unadulterated, like, Christian sex energy right there.
Yeah. No, it's extreme. He is...
That is big
evangelism.
Seth energy.
Big Seth energy. And he's...
Sorry.
No, it's fair. We previously saw him in 2 episodes. He's in the first episode that Aubrey's in, like where we get introduced to the shepherds. He's at the Timothy Center during that, and then there's another episode, and his kind of shtick is that he's really, really into Christianity, and the show is acknowledging the fact that he is overzealous.
Yeah,
like they're
that's
not,
fair.
which is an interesting stance for them to have.
Yeah,
and I'm here for
it's
it.
mostly evangelical,
right? But like he's being played up for laughs as the overly enthusiastic Christian kid,
Thank
and
goodness.
like that's his trope throughout the show.
And I'm cool with it.
Oh yeah, it's great. He's in like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. Additionally, I'm about to rock your world. He is voiced by Robin Knight, a woman.
It's 2019. I'm not going to put boxes on anything.
This is a thing that most animated shows do. We've talked about it in the past. A lot of voice acting for young boys is women, like older women. This is not something that Odyssey typically does, and it was really weird when I was going through the credits. Odyssey typically casts kids as kids,
which we've talked about.
Or if they do this sort of thing, it's for a character who's like just in a scene, and so they just like pull Bob Luttrell to do like a kid, whatever. But for this is a recurring character where they cast a voice actress who has 1 IMDb credit in a nothing role. So I don't know what the connection was here.
Is she? And she's not on the show in any other capacity. Right?
She plays a character of Pete in 2 episodes.
Oh.
And Seth in 5.
Okay.
And I don't know. Yeah,
family friend, perhaps.
Right. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Hey, you have an oddly youthful, boyish voice.
Right. And you can kind of tell, like, so I was listening to the whole episode with this lens of that, and it's not that you can tell that it's a woman, but you can tell that they are doing a voice.
Yeah.
In a way that you don't with most of the kids in Odyssey. Like, most of the characters in Odyssey in general, with the exception of, like, your Barts and your every character that Jess Harnell does. Like, some of the voice actors who are doing more, like, who are playing multiple roles and that sort of thing are doing more of voices. But
would you say that you feel like Mitch is a voice?
Mitch is a voice.
Okay.
But it's less of a voice than Rodney.
That's fair.
Like, I think Rodney is more of a voice and Mitch might be more Steve Burns.
Yeah.
But Katie Lee sounds like Katie Lee.
Yeah.
Like, she's not doing...
And she also liked this podcast on Facebook.
That's true.
Continue.
But she's not doing... Like, she's not doing a voice in the same way. And that is true of, like, especially all of the kids, because they are just kids. They don't play multiple roles. They don't do weird voices. Yeah. But Seth is a character. Like, he's doing a weird voice. He's got an accent that you can't really lock down. And it all makes sense when you're like, oh, this is a grown woman doing this.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, so there's conversation then after Seth leaves where Liz is like, what was going on there, man?
Yeah,
like,
you freaked out.
Because Mandy's just stumbling over words, repeating herself. It's really fun. And and Liz is like, oh, do you have like a crush on Seth? Mm-hmm. And Mandy kind of admits to the fact that she has a crush on Seth.
Yeah, he's cute. And she's like, to date? And she's like, no, I just know him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, because they're, middle school?
Yeah.
I think is what we kind of landed on.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely not allowed to date till they're 16. Maybe 17, depending on how tight
well, it comes up in a bit.
Yeah.
But, so our next scene then is Seth talking to Liz. Mm-hmm. Asking her. So there's this whole thing that Mandy goes over where there's some sort of like evangelism. Evangeline Lily. There's some sort of evangelism class happening.
Yeah.
That she really wants to partner up with Seth for
because
that.
He's cute, so she gets to know him.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Oh yeah, A+ move.
Yeah.
And so the next scene is Seth approaching Liz and asking if she wants to be his partner for the evangelism class. And Liz is immediately like, no, not really. Like Mandy. Like, you know who Mandy is? Like, she was hoping to be your partner, and he has no idea who Mandy is.
So sad.
Liz is like trying to describe her, and finally they like figure out. But one of the things he throws out is that she looks like the girl from the hot chocolate commercials. And I think that's a running joke. But
I think so too. It sounds
sure.
familiar.
I was like, I don't know if I just listened to these episodes a lot or if that comes up at other points.
I feel like it must.
I think it's a runner. I could not find any reference to it on the wiki.
So
tweet at us.
That was good. That was all it was. I like that. At the WadFam Chatbot. Or is it just WadFam Chatbot? There's no the.
There's no the.
Good to know. Okay.
Yeah. We're not branded anywhere with a the. We just say it because it's weird to say.
Welcome back to WadFam Chatbot.
Yeah, it works, but I don't know. I always throw the in there. I like the way it flows.
It's an article.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, and so Seth then
asks Liz to be her partner,
and
Liz is like, never mind, and then she takes it.
Yeah, she ends up going for it. Maybe with a little. Well, we get it more in the next scenes, but like
it was so odd because she didn't really like think that he was like super cute or anything like that. And
but now that like
Mandy's out of the picture.
Well, no, I think it's just now. I think it's literally the fact that he is showing interest in her.
Yeah. That's
like, ooh, a boy is showing interest in me,
and he can do presumably 5 pull-ups.
Yeah. He's going out for the wrestling team to save kids.
That is, whew.
But
spicy.
So we jump from there to another scene with Mandy and Liz. This time we are now at the evangelism class, and Seth comes up and asks, Liz if she's about ready to start.
Yeah, and Liz is with Mandy.
Yeah, and Mandy's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And Liz is like, look, he asked to be my partner, and then Mandy's like, what? But I was gonna be, and she's like, we're not even allowed to date for years.
Yeah, and then she says like,
yeah, but I didn't want to date him. I just wanted to talk. Like, this was my crush. You're betraying my trust.
Yeah.
At which point Liz pulls the worst move.
Yeah. It's like,
at this point, she's kind of in the right.
Yeah, she's fine.
But then she decides to be a little mean-spirited and says, he didn't even know who you are. He thought you were like the girl from the hot chocolate commercial or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Like, he had no idea.
Yeah.
who you were.
Like,
and
it's not a big deal because you don't matter.
right. Yeah. And so
Ooh.
Mandy's
Oh boy.
understandably hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we go.
Dylan will come in and sweep her up into his arms.
Assuming she aged at a normal rate and is now appropriately aged to be dating me.
Yes.
I will gladly swoop in.
Listen, if the voice actor
No,
of
okay,
Mandy
no. That's where it gets weird. I am perfectly happy making those jokes about a fictional character. I do not want to insinuate that, like, no, I'm not starting a romantic. No, it gets weird when you bring voice actors into it.
That's fair.
We're
That's
not
fair.
taking it that
That's
direction.
fair. Okay. All right. I'm fine. I respect that. I will stay out of your love life when it comes to relating to Odyssey characters.
Yeah. Jeez.
Okay. Yeah,
Do
and
a
so
Donna
and then so
episode
Mandy
just to
kind of
get back at you.
Listen, I tried to roast myself earlier. It wasn't really acknowledged, so
Fair.
it's all right. So yeah, and so then Mandy kind of storms off, right?
I think Liz actually goes off to
Yeah,
join
yeah.
to join Seth. Whatever. That's the end of that scene, and we go to J&J Antiques with
Connie's there, right?
Yeah, Connie's back, and
Could this all be in one day? It feels like it's all one day.
yeah, it's pretty close. It's
Yeah.
a day or maybe two.
Yeah,
Probably two.
because of the
Because
evangelism
I think
class.
that's happening in the evening,
Yeah.
and then we'll have the next day. But
Yeah.
still, it's pretty quick succession. And so Connie's complaining about the fact that she called Mitch and got the answering machine, and it's no longer the message it used to be. It's now just like this very professional, like, hey, this is Mitch, leave a message. Whereas he used to do a George Bush impression.
Yeah, where he's trying to rid the world of was it meatless hamburgers, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Which man,
White Castle, you can sponsor us.
I'm here with that. I'll support it.
Or actually, White Castle's a place that sells but that's not actually.
I'm cool
the
with
name.
that too. Though.
What's the
the Impossible Burgers?
Yeah, the Impossible Burger or whatever.
Yeah, the Impossible
Impossible
Burger,
Burger.
or any really Boca Burgers. Boca Burgers
Yeah.
are good. Any non-meat alternatives? My sister is a vegetarian. I am personally not. But you know what? If I got a sponsorship, maybe I would be.
Yeah, yeah. Come at us.
If you give me free burgers, I will eat those instead of meat. How about that?
Ooh. Hey. It's a
Bargain.
good plan.
Do it for the cows.
I used to be a meat eater until I got sponsored.
until I got sponsored by Boca. Maybe
Down.
Boca's. Yeah.
Okay.
I
This has gone on too long.
Go for it.
So yeah, she's mad that he had to change it and that he's not responding to her. And is it at this point that she yelled? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at this point that it comes out that like they got into an argument.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Well, they don't they get into an argument on camera?
Oh,
mic?
that's right.
Yeah.
We do get their argument on thing, but we only hear Connie's side because I guess Steve Burns wasn't around or something. They
Yeah.
didn't feel like getting him in for the episode. Because we do hear the argument, but we just hear Connie's side, and then it's Jack and Joanne being like, "That sounded serious."
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then she's like, "Oh, we just got into an argument," and then
Oh, it's just Connie and Jack, I think, because then Joanne comes in.
yeah, and she storms in and is like talking about bringing one of their antiques to Washington, and Jack's like, "That's really far away."
Yeah,
and all this
yeah,
stuff.
there's an antique compass.
Yeah.
That Joanne thinks that she can sell to raise money for
The church in Sri Lanka.
Yep, for rebuilding this church. And it's coming up that, she wants to contact all these museums.
One of which is the Smithsonian in
Yep.
Washington.
And they seem interested, and so she's hoping to sell it.
Yeah.
And Jack's kind of like,
It's awfully far.
yeah, it's a like if you're gonna fly to that seems expensive.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll drive then. He's like, that's gonna take a while. Don't you just think you're like pushing a little too hard, trying to force this thing, like kind of trying to force God. Like if God wants it to happen, it'll happen. Stop pushing for it. And I think that's a bad take.
Yeah. I can understand why he would do it, especially with his reasoning explained later.
Oh, no. I agree with the talking about the expense of the trip and all of that stuff. But I think that there is a logical argument to be had here and a conversation to be had rather than saying, like, you're trying too hard, just like God.
Don't be
I
God
think that's
here.
a bad philosophy. And I think that to an extent, this episode acknowledges that that's a bad philosophy.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. Whether intended or not, they do, like, he goes back on his decision. Mm-hmm. And so...
Yeah, and then Joanne's like... Joanne then kind of is like... She reacts pretty dramatically, I would say. Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily poorly, but she's like... Yeah. Don't you ever just want to, like... not be so practical and, like, don't just want to drive and whatever...
And she then drudges up this thing with an antique piano where they would have lost money if she hadn't gotten it appraised, and this whole thing. And all of it is just really, really great.
Couple banter.
Yeah, well, like, it's a fight that doesn't seem entirely mean-spirited. It seems like a good fight, though. And they're, like,
it's quippy,
but it also, like, it further establishes their relationship and how good that is.
Yeah, it feels very natural given the characters, that the kind of argument that they have, where they're not, like, really genuinely angry at each other, but they're kind of frustrated. And Joanne, like, really wants to do this. She doesn't want Jack to hold her down as much.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it just makes their relationship feel real.
Yeah,
this is like an actual argument that I could see two people handling, and they're handling it on both sides like people in an argument would.
Yeah, and, like, the subtle, like, bringing up a thing that you did in the past thing, just, like, subtly, just like, whatever, and then he's like, hey, like, why you gotta go there, It's good. It's really good. It's incredibly, convincing, I guess. Would be the word I would put.
And so they don't really resolve that, and Jack walks off, and
Joanne says you used to be more of a pushover.
Yeah,
which I thought was interesting. Like, she thought she was going to convince him. But she was kind of mad.
Right. She's a little irritated that, like, Jack's coming down so hard on it because she's used to him. Yeah, just falling in line with kind of what she's pushing. Once again, a thing that feels real.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to Connie and Mandy sitting at the counter. Connie's behind it, serving up people, and mad that she has to do so. And it's a really great scene of, like, this is a child, and I guess we'll call Connie an adult, even though she's in limbo. And they're having this, I don't know, they're both kind of quipping back and forth with advice and just, like, being, I don't know, I like the scene, even though it's, like, I don't know if it 100% makes sense, but, like, it's fun.
Yeah, no, like, it is enjoyable, that's for sure.
And Connie's talking about this being fed up with Mitch. She's venting about Mitch, and Mandy's venting about Liz. Talking about I'm not his doormat, and Connie says you're too young to be thinking about boys. Which is funny.
That's not how that works. It's a great scene, and then basically it kind of boils down to, I think, Connie, whether intentionally or not, being the older person in the situation, kind of encouraging Mandy to force the situation a bit more, like, kind of take what's yours, is sort of like, don't apologize for anything, like, you didn't do anything wrong, so just go for it.
A theme that we see occur with Connie a lot throughout the series is her not realizing the influence she's wielding over the kids at Wit's End.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so then we kind of then see that pan out.
Yep, because we go back to the
evangelism class, right?
Yeah, wherein they are role playing.
It's Liz and Seth role playing. and then Mandy kind of like drops it,
forces herself in.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable to listen to. She's like, "Oh, my partner wasn't really getting it. I just want to watch Seth."
Yeah,
and then she like really like compliments him. It's like, Seth's so good.
And Liz is getting pissed off.
Yeah,
and then Liz kind of kick Seth out. And they have a quick conversation. And Liz being like, Liz is always the more brash, actionable of the two, whereas Mandy's more sweet and passive.
She's more reserved, I would say.
Yeah, and so Liz is like, well, I'm just gonna ask him.
Yeah,
just gonna get this, straight out ask him. And so she goes back, and they kind of like tandem it, where they're going back and forth, and ask Seth which of them.
Yeah, which one do you like more? And he's like, to date, and she's like, yeah. And which one, I was kind of surprised that she would go through that, but also whatever. And then he said, neither of you guys. I can't believe you're even thinking about that. We're in evangelism class.
Yep.
We're trying to save the world.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's so funny.
Should I say she? He? She? Character is good. Voice acting, great.
Character's a he, but
Both.
yeah. Voice actress is a she, and she's doing great. But it's so fun.
It's so good. It's really funny because it kind of blows up
like,
in their face, and I was like,
oh yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Maybe we did do a bad thing here, and then that kind of blows up their relationship for a bit, which is kind of surprising, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if there's a mutual disdain from the person,
right,
it's like, well, I guess it doesn't really matter because
yeah.
But they're young, and
but I think Mandy still feels betrayed,
and Liz, I think, is upset that Mandy sabotaged whatever.
Yes.
So
something that she thought might have led to a thing.
Yeah, a thing to a thing.
Yeah.
A dweeb within a dweeb.
And then we go back to Joanne and Connie, with Joanne telling Connie that she's gonna apologize to Jack.
And Connie's like, well, like, that's ridiculous. Like, what are you doing that? You have to take what you want. Like,
and initially,
you shouldn't be his doormat. Like, a lot of what she was talking about with Mandy.
And I'm not, like, before I heard the apology and all of that, I was a little bit more with Connie, where I was like, I don't know that you're supposed to apologize in this scenario. Like, I also felt like Joanne wasn't really in the wrong.
I felt like she was being kind of
previous
pushy, and like she had, by bringing up the she.
Yeah. Well,
she
so
was
in
frustrated she didn't get
retrospect,
what she wanted.
I agree with that. I think when I heard the argument, I was like, Jack's wrong, Joanne's right. And when it came here, I was like, really, Joanne's gonna apologize?
Yeah.
And I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Let's get that on record. So her comment to Connie is, Connie's like, if you apologize, you lose the argument. And she's like, my marriage is more important than winning this argument.
Yeah.
Which is a great quote.
Yeah.
And then she starts to apologize, and I'm like, all right, I take it back.
Yeah.
Joanne knew better. And this is... We can talk about it a little bit maybe once we finish the episode, but this point might be good too. This is, I think, the first time throughout our coverage of the show where I felt that the lessons taught in the episode were something I could actually apply.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like,
I mean, maybe
currently to me as I exist now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to adult
in my
Dylan, in my relationships, this was actually
very
good advice and helpful here.
I remember thinking the same thing when I listened to it. Yeah, I
was
just like
surprised that I found something other than like humor and nostalgia and criticism out of an episode where I was like, wait, like, not only do I think
something here,
right, where a lot of times I'll be like,
I tripped and fell, and this is benefiting me. Oh no!
Yeah, so many times I'm like, I think that was a good moral for kids. It's kind of where I end an episode with, and this one I was like, shoot, I think I needed that.
Yeah, this is good because and it's something that applies, and obviously we see it in this episode that it applies to all ages. Like all relationships have conflict, and pulling your head out of those feelings that you're having and just being the bigger person and apologizing for the way that you've wronged them, even if it's a small thing.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Because it's not about winning, it's about, having a healthy relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love Joanne's move of she asks Jack, can Connie stay and see this?
Yeah.
Which is a really cool, mentor-y kind of maneuver. And it's vulnerable.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, she goes to apologize to Jack about the fact that she was pushy and that, she drudged up some things from the past and she's willing to not go on this trip. And Jack kind of comes back and is like, look, no, I think you should go on the trip this.
Yeah. And I didn't handle this perfectly either. I just didn't want you to go for that long because, I was going to miss you, which is sweet. And then he bought her a phone.
He talks about the fact that he was being selfish and he gets her a new cell phone because hers was acting up. And it's just...
And the phone noises were great.
It's so nice. They have such a beautifully mature relationship.
Yeah. I
love this scene.
Yeah, and then we see it trickle down into the effect with...
Yeah, so Jack leaves and Connie says, you said you were sorry and you got exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
And Joanne replies...
I didn't do it to get what I wanted. I did it because I love my husband.
Which is
so good. So much of what's wrong in people's relationships, whether it be friendships, marriages, dating relationships, is just trying to get yourself to feel better.
Winning the argument.
Yeah, as opposed to being loving and serving and putting them first, and understanding that means sometimes you do feel icky.
Yeah,
but if they feel loved by it, then it's worth it.
Yeah. And so, then we go back to the counter at Wit's End. Mm-hmm. Liz shows up, asks if Mandy's around, and when she finds out she's not, gives Connie a box to pass on to Mandy.
Of all their stuff. It was kind of she says, I guess our friendship's over, and all this stuff. It's very much like giving the boyfriend stuff back after they break up.
It's the Dean box in Gilmore Girls.
Oh yeah.
Where Lorelai puts all of the stuff that Rory and Dean,
the giant
Rory
box
had of Dean's in this box, because
and the stuff that
she's
touched.
Right now you just want to burn this all, but someday it's going to be good to look back at.
Yeah.
And so we have a similar thing here with Connie going through the box of the stuff they shared and just bringing up all these memories, and Liz,
pictures.
Liz is it's clearly having an effect on Liz, and rather than leaning into that, she's like, all right, we need to stop. Just give it to her. That's it.
Yeah.
And so so their relationship is over. And crazily, that is not resolved in this episode.
No, it feels like it should.
It does. This is a feud that continues between the two of them for almost a year of the show.
Wow. What?
So this episode,
I don't remember
this
that.
episode's airing in September of 2003. It gets resolved in May of 2004. I also did not remember this and had to look it up.
The dark days.
It's just... I honestly think it's a really good move.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool to have, because it feels very much like the kids, like being a kid at that age, where you get into those fights and you hold grudges and whatever. And also, it gives higher stakes to a thing where so often conflicts in Odyssey just resolve in an episode.
Yeah.
And we get...
Or even in an album, even if it were to be a thing where it's it's a 3-part or something happens, whatever.
But this isn't a multi-part thing. This is a thing where we will see those characters
this is their entire
independently
arc.
from each other. across multiple episodes where we're aware of the fact that they're not speaking.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
I think it's a really cool story move.
And it's definitely different than what Odyssey's done in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. And we will not be covering those episodes.
Sadly.
Sorry, guys. But
oh, well. Go back and listen to them on your own with your Adventures in Odyssey Club memberships.
Yep.
Or
that
Odyssey Adventure Club
all of you guys have, and we cannot get.
Because we're blacklisted.
That's true. They hate us.
This is because we love you guys.
Yes.
This is the thing that we do that hurts us, but it's because we make this podcast for you.
That's
the
true.
People.
That's true. And so our episode goes out on Connie showing up at the antique shop again. This time, asking Joanne if she can come on the trip with her.
Yeah.
Connie wants to go along with Joanne so she can apologize to Mitch in person. He is they're going to DC. Mitch is, I guess, outside of DC. But same general
place.
idea or area. And so she's gonna, her and Joanne are gonna road trip out. And that's what we get for the next handful of episodes, even past what we're covering as part of this saga. It's a good thing, and we can talk about it more when we're doing it, but this isn't the first time there's been an Odyssey road trip.
Yeah, we had the Eugene and Bernard, right?
Yeah. And
what
it's
a great,
just,
I love
it's a
those
lot
episodes.
of fun. It's,
oh my lord, that's great. Yeah.
It's fun stuff. And I really like it here. And so we're setting that up on they're gonna go out, and Connie's gonna surprise Mitch with an apology, and the two of them get to road trip together. And so
that's all for this episode. Do you have any closing thoughts? I mean, we've talked about.
I was gonna say we've done a bunch of closing thoughts, but earlier.
Yeah.
So
do you have to restate the thesis, as it were?
I like this episode.
Me too.
A lot.
It's very good.
It is. I love how the stories.
It was super petty and kind of annoying in the beginning because I only remembered some of it, and then the way that it was resolving, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good! I love Odyssey. This is amazing! This is what happens when you have such well-established characters that are well written, and yes, yes, please, more of this." Thank you, sir. May I have another?
I'm so happy with it. But that's all. That's all I've got.
I'm plug free. Are you plug free?
I am no plugs this week. There is something coming. So get excited. I don't have a date. So just I'll announce it when it happens, but it's on its way. So
there you go.
That's exciting stuff. And we'll be back next week with episode 527, Black Clouds.
Ominous.
Indeed.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
WadFam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Episode 35, Seeing Red, was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Aceba, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us next time for more of the WadFam Chalk Pod.